need to talk about something. So an absolute bombshell of an article just dropped in the Washingtonian's August issue, which is on the stands right now. We have got the cover, and the issue has an article in it. There is the cover there. The issue has an article in it. It's called, Guess What? Tony P Hates You Too. Of course, the article is talking about Tony P of Influencing fame, who rose to fame for his videos detailing the life of a 20-something white-collar bachelor in D.C., cooking meals at home, dressing in suits, watching Wheel of Fortune. But this article by Chris Almeida paints a different picture as Tony P's star waxes and wanes. He's become upset with some of his audience. Here's a quote from Tony P in the article. Tony P says, can we please pull up that quote right now so I can read it? Thank you. Quote, I have this intense anger at those people. It's like, just leave me the F word alone, right? Just please scroll by. I'd like to someday open my account and not have to read those comments. Ooh, spicy. Wow. So this article speaks to a larger issue. Fast Company recently came out with an article called The Influencer Bubble is Finally Popping, meaning we may be seeing the end of influencers as we know them. So ladies, let's talk. Where do we and where does Tony P go from here? I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this article because we all read it.
I really needed to clear my throat. That wasn't for dramatics. Sometimes it is. Mr. Polcari, let me start with the pros. I think I really like what he has done for the narrative of reversing toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
His whole narrative when he came out was to talk about masculinity doesn't have to be monolithic. You know, you can cook and listen to show tunes and all these different things. I love what he's done for reversing the conversation for toxic masculinity. I would be remiss if I did not talk about my personal disdain with the principle of influencers getting opportunities that classically trained journalists usually get. And I can be open with that. But one thing I do appreciate, going back to the pros, that he has come forward on social media and talked about how he realizes that he is in the position of privilege because of social media and his popularity on social media. And he has ambitions to be on television. All that to say, I do think the influencer culture started very quickly, and it is kind of having a fizzle right now.
It's like shaky.
It's shaky, and I think because it's such a saturated market. And again, as a classically trained journalist, sometimes that really bothers me to see, you know, if you can pay for someone to create a platform for you, or if you can, you know, shuck and jive enough on social media and get millions of followers, you're getting opportunities that someone went into debt to get degrees for. But again, I will give him credit. I do follow him on social media, and I have seen him talk publicly about he realizes that he is in a place of privilege because of this. Social media and instant fame can go to the brain.
Oh, can it ever?
It can go to the brain. I sympathize with him, I empathize with him, but I think he knows what he signed up for. And this is just a local example of a larger problem, a global issue, I think, where we're seeing social media really impact young people. So I have a lot more to say, but it's 3 hosts and it's an hour-long show. What do you ladies think?
Well, so first of all, I thought the article was really, really well done. It was an incredibly compelling read. You could also listen to it as well, so I would highly recommend.
Which was written by a journalist.
Which was written by a journalist, yes, a journalist who has bylines in New York Times. And so Chris did a great job writing this article.
Yeah,
you know, I have met Tony P in person. Very lovely guy. I have nothing but good things to say about him, meeting him. He admires what we do. He has said he enjoys what we do on Living Local. So I appreciate that. Bottom line, I feel bad for him. I know this is he is choosing to pursue social media, and a lot of influencers choose to pursue that life. It is a hard life to pursue, and the people online are very hateful. I mean, we even have like a community online called DC Influencer Snark, which is just a group of people who like to bully influencers. So, you know, on one hand, yes, I feel bad that he's navigating this because it's a tough business.
And his 20s. He's
in
young.
his 20s,
yes.
and Lord knows, we folks in TV, and I know Tony also freelances in TV as well, we also get hate like that sometimes. I mean, no doubt. I think bottom line, yeah, I agree with you, Cherie. Sometimes it does burn that kind of, I would say competition between influencers and traditional journalists sometimes. And it's a constantly changing media market. And I think sometimes we're all losers in it.
Yeah. For me, I have to remind myself of where to direct my disdain, because even though it's easy to be upset with influencers, you know what? You can't knock the hustle.
Yeah,
and the game is to be sold, not to be told. And so they're out there trying to get their money and do their thing. And I think the frustration is better directed at management, because it is a mistake to think that an influencer should be doing a broadcaster's job. And, to that I say, stay in your lane. Like, keep people where they belong and stay in their lane. Yes, you can glean from the eyes and the ears that they have from their platforms that they've built, the audience that they've built, but never mistake that is a journalist. I would also say, as we see the influencer bubble start to pop, for those who have pursued their career and have not pursued anything else, if you live by their approval, you will die by their rejection.
And that's mentioned in the article, Tony. I mean, it's mentioned that for 2 years in his influencing career, Tony P made $500,000, I believe, every year for 2 years, an insane amount of money. Now that's waning because, it's a constant up and down, as you said.
I hope you invested that money.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I to piggyback off what you said, when you can go to the last word, sometimes you can hate the principal and not, it can be principal and not personal. So I feel like I want to meet Tony P in the wild. I have no problem. We have so many mutual friends.
Yeah.
I want to go to a Subway with you, Tony P. Let's go to get a Subway sandwich together.
Let's go to Subway. Why not?
And I know he makes a mean salmon, and I'm a fan. I follow. We got some stuff to chop up and talk about.
I would say so.
Sure.
So yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, again, Washingtonian. The article is in the August edition.
Great
Read
article.
it. It's great.